What's up, pups? How you guys doing? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Ooh, ooh, Doctor Who video. You guys knew this by the title. Sorry. Most terrifying, underrated Doctor Who creatures. I feel like one of the things that I always look forward to in an episode is like seeing what scary creature, monster, aliens they have come up with this time. And we all always focus on the Weeping Angels, the Daleks, the Cybermen, like the scariest of scary that are the main focus of Doctor Who. And there are so many creatures that we've seen maybe once or twice that I feel like deserve recognition for being super ultra terrifying. I want to talk about my top 5 most terrifying Doctor Who creatures that still give me nightmares when I think about them, because why do they exist? Thanks, Stephen Moffat. But I don't think Stephen Moffat created all of these creatures, so thanks other writers who know how to cause me a lot of anxiety. Number 1, the Flood. The Flood was a viral species that originated inside of a glacier on the planet Mars. Once infected, the individual constantly exuded water from their hands and their mouth and pretty much any orifice at all. And the water could be increased to make high pressure sprays from the hands and the mouth. And keep in mind that if this water touches you, you turn into one of the Flood. And if you capture one of the infected and you contain them, all they have to do is flood the containment center until it breaks. And what happens if there's too much water for anyone to escape? Well, if the Flood finds its way to Earth somehow, it could potentially wipe out the entire population. No one can outrun water. Number 2, the Foretold. The Foretold is not actually a mummy in the traditional Egyptian case. In reality, it was a soldier that died a long time ago, and the bandages were used to heal their wounds. To continue letting him battle in the war, advanced technology was put inside of him. It malfunctioned, so for thousands of years it's been killing without a thought. The Foretold represents death, just like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, or the Terminator. It's slow, but that only makes it worse, because what happens next is inevitable. It will reach you. There's no place to run, there's no place to go and hide. It will always be right there next to you. And there's nothing that you can do or someone else can do to save you. The 66 seconds was actually about one seeing their own death. It has been foretold. Number 3, the Boneless. The Boneless experimented on and dissected 3-dimensional life forms and objects. Eventually, they learned how to exist as 3-dimensional objects themselves. Their transformation into 3D was not perfected though, which resulted in these like half 3D, half 2D beings. Visually, this might have been the best CGI that the show has ever come up with. They were always alternating between the 2D and 3D versions of the humans that they killed. Everything from the way that they look to the way that they turned objects into pictures was super creative. And there were so many twists and turns on how they could actually use their abilities. There was a visual surprise behind every corner with them. And whereas I super enjoyed watching that episode, I would not want to be in the same room. Knowing that all it takes for this creature to kill you is comparable to clicking your shutter button on your camera adds a super extra touch of creep factor that I want nothing to do with. Number 4, the Midnight Creature. No one knows what this creature looks like. But whatever its physical form is, if it even has one, it's powerful enough to survive in a supposedly uninhabitable atmosphere, and it's strong enough to severely damage a heavily armored vehicle. And what's most threatening about this creature is not its strength, which is a big surprise, but its intelligence. It didn't try to kill the passengers with brute force, but with psychological warfare. It possessed one of the victims, knowing that the others would drop at the first sign of trouble, and the victims were eventually in a state where they were willing to kill each other. The Midnight Entity was one frightening creature because it was, and still is, a mystery. Even the Doctor knew nothing about it, with all of his knowledge of creatures. No one knows what it looks like. No one knows what it wants. It is just simply alien. How does anyone beat something like that? And the Doctor almost didn't. Number 5, the Vashta Nerada. Almost every species in the universe has an irrational fear of the dark, but they're wrong. It's not irrational. It's the Vashta Nerada, the piranhas of the air. The Vashta Nerada, literally the shadows that melt the flesh. They're microscopic beings that live in swarms that resemble shadows. Not every shadow, but any shadow. A sad guy who steps in the shadow of an object could be reduced to bones within a millisecond. If you see 2 shadows from one person, you can be assured that that guy will not last. They are that dangerous, and they are that fast. It's a wonder that the Vashta Nerada might be the most underrated Doctor Who creature of all time. They're a genius creation from Stephen Moffat, taking advantage of a man's eternal fear of the dark. And the worst part of it all, they seem to have no weakness. In fact, all the characters in that episode could do was run for their lives. Stephen Moffat, master of existential horror. What can I say? I'm a Moffat fangirl. I don't want to be in a room with any of those creatures by myself ever. Ever. So if you personally have a Doctor Who creature that scares you more than life itself, leave it in a comment down below. I'm curious to know what you guys find super terrifying. These were just the ones that came to mind for me. Obviously, every creature in Doctor Who is terrifying, but some are a little bit more terrifying than others. Like, some I would be like, okay, I have a fighting chance, and others I'm like, I don't have any chance at all. I'm just gonna die. That's fine. Anyway, if this is the first video they're seeing of mine, hi, I'm Kayleigh. You should subscribe by hitting that red button right down below, and we can become best friends forever. Links to my Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram are also down below. I'll see you guys in a few days with another video. Peace out, Trouts.